Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will discuss ionic bond for class +1 under the chapter chemical bonding. So what is ionic bond? As the name indicates, the bond which held together two ions. Ions must be of opposite charge. So first is definition. What is a ionic bond? It is a chemical bond So it is a chemical bond formed by transfer of 1, 2 or 3 electrons from EP here electropositive to electronegative element to complete their octet. Right. So what we require? We require electropositive element and electronegative element. From electropositive element to we transfer electron to electronegative atom, or we can say we require cation and anion, or third we can say we require metal and non-metal. The bond formed between electropositive and electronegative element. Second we can say the bond formed between cation and anion, or third we can say the bond formed between metal and non-metal is called ionic bond. There is a strong electrostatic force of attraction between positive and negative charge ion. That's why it is also called electrovalent bond. Means transfer of electrons from valence shell of one element to other element. Or we can say there is a strong electrostatic force of attraction that held two ions. For example, I have this is cation and this is cation and this is an ion. Transfer of electrons, either one electron or two electrons or three electrons, depending on the valency of elements. Clear? That is a ionic bond or electrovalent bond. Second is electrovalency. Now what is electrovalency? It is defined as the number of electron transferred from electropositive to electronegative element is called electrovalency. How many electrons are transferred? That is called electrovalency. For example, I have magnesium oxide. Atomic number of magnesium and oxygen 12, 282, oxygen 2, 6. If it loses 2 electrons, so Mg plus 2 divalent cation will form, and transfer of 2 electrons to oxygen. As a result, it will gain 2 electrons. It will become stable. It is also stable now. 2, 8 stable. 2, 6. 2, 6 plus 2, 2, 8. 2, 8 is also stable. As a result, an ion is formed. So Mg plus 2 O minus 2. There is the ionic compound magnesium oxide. How many electron transfer? 2. So electrovalency is 2. For example, I have calcium chloride. Again 2, 8, 8, 2. Atomic number is 20. Chlorine atomic number is 7. Calcium can lose 2 electrons, but chlorine can gain 1 electron. So definitely we need 1 more chlorine. So 2 electrons are transferred to two chlorine atoms. As a result, it forms divalent cation again, and two monovalent anions are formed. As a result, there is a strong electrostatic force of attraction. Calcium chloride is formed. So again, electrovalency here is 2. The number of electron transferred, that is called electrovalency. Right. Next is cation and anion. There is a strong electrostatic force of attraction. As a result, a three-dimensional lattice is formed, that is called crystal. There is a strong electrostatic force of attraction. As a result, a three-dimensional lattice is formed. That lattice is called a crystal. Right. So we can say ionic compounds are found in a crystalline form. A three-dimensional arrangement of cation and anion. For example, we have NaCl. This is ionic compound again. Metal, non-metal, electropositive, electronegative. I am representing atoms of NaCl packed in a lattice. This is the lattice of sodium chloride. We can see there is a tight arrangement, a definite arrangement, a systematic arrangement of ions. As a result, a 3D crystal is formed. Right. Next, factors affecting ionic compound, ionic bond. First is formation of ionic bond is directly proportional to the difference of electronegativity of two elements. Greater is the difference, greater the ionic bond strength, higher the chances of formation of ionic bond. Let us understand it with the example. For example, we have the members of period sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, and chlorine. These are the members of a period, and in a period, electronegativity increases. In this period, chlorine is the highest electronegative and sodium is the least electronegative. So definitely the compound formed between sodium and highest electronegative atom chlorine will be more ionic. It is least electronegative, it is highest electronegative in this period. So there is a large difference between the electronegativity of both elements. Right. Next, MgCl2. Next, AlCl3 or SiCl. So if we conclude, from sodium chloride to silicon tetrachloride, there is a decrease in difference of electronegativity. If electronegativity difference is going to decrease, so definitely ionic character or ionic bond formation will increase. So NaCl is more ionic than magnesium chloride, then aluminium chloride, and then silicon tetrachloride. Right. We can take more examples. NaCl, the formation of bond between sodium and chlorine, sodium and sulfur, sodium and phosphorus. NaCl, Na2S, Na3P, sodium phosphide. So out of these three, chlorine is more electronegative and electropositive element is same. Electronegativity of chlorine is high, then chlorine, sulfur, then phosphorus. So there is a large difference in electronegativity. So it will be more ionic. We can change electropositive element also. NaCl, MgS, Alp. NaCl, MgS, Alp. Again, we can say sodium is least electronegative and chlorine is highest electronegativity of this period. So there will be large difference in electronegativity. So first conclusion is formation of ionic bond is dependent on difference in the electronegativity of atoms. Higher the difference, larger the difference, greater the ionic bond strength, stronger the ionic bond. Clear? Next, second is strength of ionic bond is inversely proportional to the ionization potential. Ionization potential is the characteristics property of metals. So we can compare metals with their ionization potential. Ionization potential or ionization energy, it is the minimum amount of energy required to remove the most loosely valence electron from a gaseous atom. It is the minimum amount of energy required to remove the most loosely held valence electron from a gaseous atom. For example, we have the members of group sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. Down the group, ionization energy or ionization potential decrease, ionic character increase. Cesium compounds are more ionic than sodium. Why? Because it can lose electrons easily. It requires least amount of energy only to remove the valence electrons. Clear? We can take another group: beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. Again, these are the members of same group, and down the group, ionization potential decrease. So ionic character increases. We can take members of period also. These are the members of period, and in a period, ionization potential increases. Ionization potential increases means strength of ionic bond will decrease. Ionic character decrease. Or we can say sodium, magnesium, aluminum, they are the metals. Phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, they are the non-metals. Clear? So if any element can lose electron easily, then it can form a ionic bond easily. This is the second factor deciding the strength of a ionic bond. Third is lattice energy. Strength of ionic bond directly proportional to lattice energy. Strength of ionic bond is directly proportional to lattice energy. Now, what is this lattice energy? As we have discussed, due to the strong electrostatic force of attraction, a three-dimensional network is formed that is called crystal or lattice, and the released energy is called lattice energy. For example, again we have one gram mole of cation or metals, or 1 gram mole of anion or a non-metal or electronegative element. As a result, lattice is formed plus U. This U is lattice energy. The energy released during the formation of 1 gram mole of cation and 1 gram mole of anion. A lattice is formed and the released energy is called lattice energy. Make sure that atoms must be present in a gaseous state. As a result, a solid lattice is formed. Right? So lattice energy, higher the lattice energy, higher is the strength of a ionic bond. There is another equation for a bond formation. For bond formation, released energy must be greater than absorbed energy. Overall heat delta H must be negative. Let us understand it more. Bond formation is dependent on ionization energy, electron affinity, and lattice energy. So overall heat of bond formation is ionization potential minus electron affinity, because in electron affinity release energy is released, and minus U, lattice energy. So if we require delta H, if delta H negative, in that case these values must be higher than ionization potential. Release energy must be higher than observed or required energy. So the sum of electron affinity energy plus lattice energy must be greater than ionization energy or ionization potential. In this condition, bond will form. But if we do the reverse of this, if delta H positive, it means ionization potential is more than the sum of lattice energy and electron affinity. Ionization potential is greater than of electron affinity plus U. In this case, delta H is positive, bond will not form. Right? This equation is called Bohr-Haber equation. If delta H is negative, then bond will form. If delta H positive, bond will not form. So, what is the conclusion of ionic bond formation? Conclusion for ionic bond formation. First conclusion is delta En must be higher. Second, ionization potential must be lower. Third, electron affinity must be higher. Fourth, lattice energy must be higher. Fifth, we can say released energy must be higher than required or observed energy. If all these conditions are satisfied, then ionic bond is formed. Clear? In next lecture, we will discuss lattice energy for ionic compounds. That's it for today. Stay at home, keep learning, and keep exploring my channel. Thank you.